If you know that music, you know what this is. It's the G Show podcast. It's the legendary Godzilla review, G14. That's the music, obviously. You know you Godzilla. And you should if you're listening to this podcast. Let's cut it here before we get sued. I said that last time, didn't I, guys? Let's shut it down. And start the podcast. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the G Show podcast. I am G1, and this is the Godzilla Block Party Legendary Godzilla Review. Part 2, I should add. Because, okay, so here's the thing. We actually pre-recorded this podcast a week ago, and it was supposed to go up today. There was a malfunction on my end, and the podcast was totally scrapped. Last week, we had pretty much a full panel. This week, not so full. But what we do have full of is very important opinions. I hope. So let's get into the panel real quick. Joining me today from GVA, we have my brother from another mother, Shin Goji. And what's up, brother?
What the fuck's up, G-Show? Another GVA invasion going on.
Invading my house. It's like old school WWE, brother. Also joining us once again, I love this motherfucker. I can't get enough of him. He's been on the podcast now for, 7 weeks in a row almost? No, not 7 weeks, but since you've been on, and I appreciate that. We got JR once again. What's up, brother?
I have no quirky thing to say right now, so hi.
Yeah, there you go. And last but certainly not least in this small abridged version of a panel, we've got another brother from another mother, my co-admin on the G Show, G95. What's up, my brother?
Hello.
All right, so as you guys know, this is going to be the legendary Godzilla podcast. We're going to talk about it. We did talk about it before, but it got scrapped. It's ruined. We're going to do it again, and we're going to make it a little bit shorter. But before we get into all that, while we're on the subject of legendary, this week we got news from Kong Skull Island. We got our first official image of Kong, which I personally was blown away by. I absolutely loved the look. And as recently as 3-4 hours ago, the Kong Skull Island Facebook page had posted a monarch, whatever you call it, like mini video, claiming that in 4 days from now, Saturday, November 12th, we're getting a new trailer, which is fantastic. Now, I am super psyched and stoked about this. Let me go through you guys and find out your reactions to this also. Starting with you, Shinji. Your reaction. You saw Kong. What did you think of his look? And are you anticipating this trailer?
I think the look was a good move, that they're not just going the straight identical ape, to Kong 2005. That they really do look like the Kong from 1933. That's really sweet. The trailer, I'm ready for a trailer. I am really ready for a nice trailer. Let's see a little bit more Kong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that image we got this week teased from Entertainment Weekly, we're definitely going to see some Kong in there. JR, your thoughts? You saw Kong? You excited about this trailer announcement?
Yeah, I am. Like a lot of people are saying, it does look like the original 1933 Kong. And I was looking at it, I'm like, he kind of has a hint of Bigfoot in it, in all honesty. You really look at it. He looks a little bit like Bigfoot, too. And I think it's very, very smart. But the trailer I'm looking forward to, mostly because this movie comes out one day after my birthday. So,
oh, nice.
I'm all hyped.
That's freaking dope. Nice. G95, you saw Kong? We haven't had a chance to discuss this yet. Usually we're chomping at the bit to talk on Messenger, but we haven't had a chance to discuss this yet. So, your thoughts?
It looks pretty cool. like everybody else, I like that it looks like the 33 Kong, and I totally see the Bigfoot comparison too, especially with that one shot in the first trailer of him like standing over the lake. Looks, or whatever it was, that just the silhouette looked much more like Bigfoot-esque than it did like just a typical gorilla or something. It's cool to see that those kind of elements incorporated in there.
Okay.
But yeah, new trailer, bring it on.
Yeah, I agree with the Bigfoot thing. To your point, in that first trailer with him standing over the lake, it kind of reminded me of the old movie Legend of Boggy Creek. The poster.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was definitely right out of that. So I totally agree with the Bigfoot comparison. I love this fusion of 33 and 05's Kong. You can see it. He's got the Peter Jackson-esque face, of course, without all the scarring, and he looks a little younger. And I think Kong is actually an adolescent in this one. But after that, I mean, the sideburns, the brown sideburns, and then the actual, like the Kong, I would say almost cone head from 33 that I've always attributed. You know what I'm talking about, right? Always attributed to King Kong.
Yeah.
That's there. I was like, okay, I am down with that. I am down with that. But a couple of interesting tidbits. I got this from G73, who unfortunately can't be here today. He is on a mission. He's actually moving. So he sent me a couple of things because, he usually does the news. So he talks about how the director, Jordan Voight Roberts, I think that's how you pronounce that part. He's talking about he takes inspiration from Kong 1933, and that Kong will be bipedal instead of how Peter Jackson made him an actual ape, just an actual giant ape. This Kong's actually just going to be standing on two legs, never going down to the arms, apparently. Very monstrous, and again, very Sasquatch-esque. He also mentioned that King Kong in this movie will not be hidden from the viewers. In other words, we're not going to get, 35, 40 minutes of people and then a glimpse of a creature and then 30 more minutes of some of more people and then, Kong. No, apparently Kong's going to be in our face. I mean, much props to Harambe, but we're gonna get some solid King Kong action pretty early and pretty much throughout this movie. So I'm very interested in seeing that. G95, what about you? Do you like this idea?
I think that's a great idea. I think the trend of just seeing people's horrified reactions and then like a tail or like a foot kind of glance over the camera, and that being the majority of what you see up until the third act of the movie, is that the whole trend's kind of bullshit, and it's time it goes away. We have the special effects now to do it. You don't have to necessarily leave things up to people's imaginations. I think that tactic works in some instances, but people are going to see a giant monster movie. We want to see giant fucking monsters.
Indeed. JR, your thoughts?
I think it's a very smart move because, me as a person that loves giant monster movies, a lot of them, cut away for a lot of the movie of the monster. I'm like, the movie's called Kong Skull Island. Fucking show me Kong, dude. And if they do what they say they're going to do, props to them.
Absolutely. Shinji, your thoughts?
Hold on, I'm putting my dick away. You said Harambe, so...
It's out!
I'm glad they're going to show more. I'm not going to, get on the parade of, they didn't show enough Godzilla. I mean, we're already going to be talking about that during the review. I am happy they're going to show more. Kind of like Pacific Rim. They had it all in your face. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's the way it should be. Like, a lot of good action and shit. One thing I wanted to point out too, I think what Legendary doing with having Kong so Sasquatch-esque is kind of a callback to 1962 King Kong, because he does look brown as well. There's that little tidbit where I think that's what they're doing.
I'm sorry, you said 62?
62 Kong.
Don't you mean 70? Oh, 60. Never mind. My bad. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I got confused. I was totally
Hey,
on.
that's my favorite King Kong. I won't fuck that one up.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, I got what you're saying. Go ahead, keep going. I like this.
No, I just think that that they're dropping hints towards the original King Kong versus Godzilla with this as well, because they already have plans on mixing the two universes. Let's get a little callback now and again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I like that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I apologize on the 62 mix-up. That was my fault. I was thinking, we was on Kong, and I'm thinking Kong, and I'm like, 62? There's no movie in 62 with King Kong. Yeah, slap me in the face. Slap me in the face. Sure it was.
There's one in 67 too, buddy. Watch it.
Yeah. But, so yes, Legendary is bringing Kong back, and in 4 days, we shall have a new trailer which will showcase Kong himself. And
that just reminded me of something. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But, that's probably why America is the only, at least for now, a country to have Godzilla outside of Japan, is because America gave Japan Kong for a little bit.
That's not a bad idea. Not a bad theory. Who knows? I sure as hell don't, to be honest with you. But, yeah, so Kong, 4 days, looking forward to it. Legendary is taking care of the business. Legendary is in production right now, working on Pacific Rim Maelstrom, which I cannot wait for. We've got Kong, we've got Godzilla, we've got Legendary. And that's the topic of this podcast. We are doing the Legendary review. Now, if you joined us last week, you heard us talk about Shinji. We did the Shinji podcast. It was very heated. There was some yays and nays on both sides. I think this particular podcast, we're pretty much going to be even Stevens across the board. Again, in the previous one that we did do that was messed up, there were a couple of, upset people. I don't know if we changed their minds. Unfortunately, they were not able to make it here today. But let's get right into it. 2014, Legendary finally brought Godzilla back to the States, brought Godzilla out of retirement from, I would say, Toho's been away for 10 years at the point. And we get a new Godzilla movie, Legendary's Godzilla, Gareth Edwards directing, and it fixed a lot of the problems that 1998 had, if not all of the problems 1998 had. And it gave us a true callback to the King of the Monsters. Let me ask you guys this. Am I wrong in saying that? Am I wrong in giving that stamp of approval? Was Legendary's Godzilla, in your opinion, a very good callback to the King of the Monsters, JR?
It was. It was very, very. It was a great callback. The design, the way they paced the movie, how everything worked out, I feel captured Toho, but also made it its own in its own right. It wasn't straight rip-off kind of deal.
Gotcha. G95, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say so. Despite my feelings for the rest of the movie, that one scene where Godzilla is coming through the smoke and the rubble through Chinatown in San Francisco, see him from below, I think, from kind of a street view. I think that perfectly captured the majesty that's supposed to be Godzilla.
Yeah, definitely. Shinji.
I agree 100%. I was one of the very few people that was not happy with 1998 and was looking for a redemption. And I really feel that 2014 really gave that redemption and hard.
Yeah, definitely did. I watched this movie a whole bunch of times since it came out in the theaters, since it's been on VOD, And then when it came out on Blu-ray, I have 3 copies of it. I watch it a lot, and I love it. Every single time I watch it, I love it. I understand there's a lot of hate in the community, in our fandom, for too much human drama. An argument can be made that the same exact thing happened in Shin Godzilla, that the same fans were not beefing with. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's because Toho made that movie and they're not so upset about it. Who knows? I personally love the movie. I personally love the amount of screen time Godzilla gets. If there was only one particular instance that I was upset at, and it wasn't really that I was upset, I was more like, oh, okay, you did that already. And that was pulling the plug on a Godzilla versus Muto 1 fight for the second time. We should have got that instead of the sky jump scene. But it's what it was, because when Godzilla did fight the Mutos and when they did show all that, it was grand. It was absolutely unbelievable. And it was something that I wanted to see in a Godzilla movie. I wanted to see a Godzilla that, I mean, look, I love Man in Suit. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Suitmation. But is something different when you can make this thing giant, just more bigger than life, that you can't really get. Well, I in my personal opinion, the Toho really hasn't gotten yet. The way Legendary was able to capture Godzilla on screen in the middle of a city, and don't get me wrong, I love many Toho Godzilla movies a lot more than Legendary's Godzilla. I do. But there's just something that we were able to get, I guess, budget, of course, with the special effects in this, and seeing Godzilla on screen more so than I've gotten in any other Godzilla movie. So, I mean, that's just my opinion on why I love it. One of the reasons why I love it so much. But let's do that. Let's go positives. So, Shinji, we'll start with you, work our way down. When you seen this movie for the first time, what was your reaction?
My first initial reaction is that this fucking movie was amazing. Like you were just talking about, the feel. You could feel the monsters. There was so much depth that you could feel it in your soul, and it's not just the subwoofers. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the way they panned in and America did what it does best with the cinema. You just get dropped in this movie as far as visually. The roar, I like that they went a little different. I know that some people are, back and forth on it. But, one of the things that 1998 was, they didn't really make it very different. So after everybody started a little disliking the movie, that roar was just in your face still.
Yeah. Sure.
But I like the new roar. That the movie, you just have to experience it. You have to watch it. And if you're already a Godzilla fan and you're seeing that for the first time, it was just a tremendous experience. And that was they just nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
JR, you got anything to say? When you came out of that movie last week, you went crazy. So let's see if you tone it down this week. You came out of that movie. What were you feeling?
All right. I'm debating if I should recreate that great scream I did last week.
Okay, well, if you want to do it, let's just give everybody a heads up right now.
I might do it. Giving everyone a heads up now, it's going to be loud because of who I am. So
lower your volume, people.
Yes. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck! Yes! Yes! They fucking did it! They fucking did it right this time! Yes! I was extremely excited, and happy, and very pleased with the film. Like, a lot of people have their flaws with it. I have flaws with it. It's not in my top 5 Godzilla films. It's in my top 10, though. All the way down to the cinematography, the music, everything about this movie, to me, captured what Toho did, what America previously couldn't do, and improved on a lot of aspects, like the suit acting that we're so used to for so long. Doing straight CG and making it feel realistic, I thought was one of the best things they could have done for not only Godzilla, but for the entire series. It set a new standard for Godzilla. Yes, we're all going to miss the suit acting, but motion capture is like the new suit acting. If you want, you could, put on a suit and mocap it if you really want that feeling. But it's just the way forward, and I think it was smart for them to do it. And I thought it was just a very, very enjoyable experience. And I myself was pleased with the movie. I prefer 2014 over Shin Godzilla. I'm more excited with this legendary universe that they've decided to create.
Okay, that's it? I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I agree with the suitmation. If you want to, you put some mocaps on it. That's what they did with Shinji. They pretty much didn't build a full suit, but built what they needed to build and mocapped it, and it worked. I mean, you got a CG Godzilla from Toho. Was it pretty? No, that's my opinion. But yeah, and then you look at Andy Serkis, for instance, who played Gollum in the Lord of the Ring movies, Snoke in the new Star Wars movies, Caesar in the Planet of the Apes reboot, which I love those movies. And he was Godzilla. Think about he was King Kong for Peter Jackson. He was King Kong, and he was Godzilla. That's amazing. So yes, mocap is definitely the way to go. I love that. What was that?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, like, how many people even in Toho can say, "Hey, I was King Kong and Godzilla"?
That's true. That's true. That is actually crazy. But I love that. This is the future is here. We're in it, and it's only going to be better. But G95, if I'm not mistaken, you had. If I'm not mistaken, you liked the movie, but you had some issues. So I want to know, when you came out of that theater, what was your initial reaction?
Well, my initial reaction was all hype. It was truly one of the most insane movie experiences for me at the time. Probably only because of the hype and that I saw it in IMAX. And because IMAX will make the worst movie seem awesome. But I'm not calling 2014 the worst movie. Just with later viewings, the second and third time seeing it in the theater, and then, getting it on Blu-ray and stuff, watching it, I just started to like it less and less. I started to notice more things wrong with it, I guess, or more things that I felt were less than stellar. I enjoyed the movie. I'll watch it every now and again, but it's not my favorite. It's not really... I don't really have a top 10 for Godzilla, so it's might be in there, maybe, but definitely not in the top 5. But yeah, it's... I don't know, like I said in the last podcast, it's a solid 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah, he did say that. You did say that.
And if I could throw in real quick, if I'm not interrupting.
No.
Okay. It's something I forgot to mention. A lot of people kind of forget is the cameos in that movie. To me, were great. You had a Megalon cameo, a Mothra, several Mothra cameos as well. I thought were great. And then there was I don't know if it's a Manda cameo, but I kind of feel it is the Jade Dragon when Fort Brody's blowing up the gas tank.
So people say
that's
that's
a
King
Manda
Ghidorah.
cameo. Oh, and a Ghidorah, yeah. But I thought it was more Manda because I like Manda. But it could be Ghidorah too. But the cameos in that movie were great. Just had to say that about it.
Where's the Megalon one?
The big
The
beetle.
cockroach. Yeah, crawling all over the tanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right after that it shows the fish tank with the cocoon in it, and it says Mothra.
Yeah, I know that one. I know all the Mothra ones and the Ghidorah Mando one. but I never noticed a Megalon one before.
I always came out of that the Ghidorah one, definitely the Jade Dragon I took as a Ghidorah. But I always took. Oh, and we also forgetting the paper. Why can't I remember the damn names? But the paper animals that when the
Origamis?
the origamis, yes, that were in the classroom. And that one shot, the three flying ones, kind of like in the way he panned the camera, looks like it's one creature and it's got three heads. And then there was another one there, looked like a Rodan. But I always got my Ghidra from this one particular scene when Godzilla first comes into San Francisco in the city, when he first rises up. The male Muto comes and he flies on top of the building and he lets off this call. And in the back, like you hear, there's a guttural Showa-esque Ghidra. I'm going to say Ghidra because that's how we called it back then. Cackle. And I was like, whoa! Like every time I see that movie, I hear that. I hear that cackle. And I love it. That's one of my I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but that male Muto in that particular scene when he lands on that building right before Godzilla rises up and then they cut, listen to that. They in the back of that you can hear a Showa era Ghidra cackle, and I love it. I absolutely love that. But
Yeah, one thing to say here.
Yeah.
Matt, about not having a top 10 Godzilla movie. This coming from the guy who ranked down the Godzilla 1984 suit.
Okay. I wasn't there that day, so I wasn't there for that podcast. I had to make a list, and you guys totally misinterpreted it. All right? You guys got it all wrong.
It's on paper. How can we misinterpret it?
And if you guys want to know what we're talking about, just go down the library of Godzilla block parties. It's, I believe, in the teens. But you'll see it. It's a funky looking suit is the cover photo, and that is that podcast. If you want to laugh along with us while we destroy poor G95. But okay, so we all came out of it excited. I know I came out of that movie just blown away. Like, yes. As G95 was saying, the more he watched it, the more he found flaws with it. The more he said, you know what? Maybe it was my excitement levels that I went into the movie with. And I was just really overhyped. And now that I'm watching this at home, relaxed, it's not as good. Did anybody else feel that way? Shinji, did you feel that way?
I did, unfortunately. The first maybe 2 times I saw it, you're so pumped up with adrenaline. It's really hard to just start seeing all the things that would normally bother you, which, it's kind of like, when you're in a relationship, the first, initial few weeks, few months, what have you, you're just all for the person you're interested in. They can't do no wrong. And then, a little bit of time passes and, there's a couple things that you may have just even overlooked that you just can't overlook anymore. And then they're going to bother you. And when they keep on happening, it's like, oh, shit. And that's kind of what happens with the movie. It's still a great movie. But there's little things that poke out to you as you watch it, a few more times. And some of that is the pacing of the movie. The first time you watch it, definitely you probably won't notice that it's a 2-hour movie. Your third, fourth, fifth, whatever time passed, you're starting to be like, wow, this is a really fucking long movie. And we kind of talked about it with the last podcast where it was on one of my negatives that the direction of the pacing throws you off, and I think that's one of the biggest glares, at least it was for me. The direction of the pacing throws you off when they kill Bryan Cranston.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if we're doing full negatives right now.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
By the way, spoiler alert. Yeah. Right.
If you haven't seen 2014 by now, you need to be watching 2014, not a review of it.
Word.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, Bryan Cranston came out of the gates pretty strong, and you emoted with him as you watch his wife die in front of him, and he's like on a mission to figure out what the hell happened, and you're on board with this guy. You know what I mean? And some time passes before Brody gets older. You're not falling forward. You're all invested in Joe right now. And then we're 25-ish minutes into the movie, and the first Muto's coming out or whatever. Boom, Joe Brody dies, and you're like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" Like this, I thought this guy was going to carry the show. That's how you felt as you're watching the movie, and he just keels over and dies. Like seriously. But it really threw me off. And if JR has a rebuttal,
I'm not gonna disagree with you. I just want to say a theory that I just popped into my head when I was watching this film a lot is maybe he's not dead. If you go Black Ops in the military in real life, you have to technically be dead. Maybe he's not. Maybe he will return in a sequel and work with Dr. Sarazawa. That's just a theory I have. I just wanted to throw it in there. You can disagree with it, but
okay. Look,
it is cheesy too.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna jump in because last week on the podcast, unfortunately, we can't air because it's not good at all because of me. G73 had a weird ass theory like that too, and it wasn't about Joe Brody. It was about Ford Brody, and we were just like, no. And I gotta shoot that down because yes, with Black Ops, you technically have to be dead and off the map to do what you got to do. But this dude was getting arrested left and right. He was a nobody. He was a kook. So I can't buy that. I would love it. I would love it.
Exactly, though. Exactly. He is a kook. Everyone can think this guy was crazy. He just died because he's a crazy man. But in reality, he was right about everything the whole time. I think it would be cheesy as shit for Godzilla movies, but then again, the right kind of cheese for a Godzilla movie, because we've seen some cheese.
Oh yeah, and we probably enjoy. I mean, I'm a fan of Godzilla versus Megalon. Cheesy, okay, so. But all right. If Legendary was to bring that type of cheese to this universe, which I don't think they would, then sure, why not? But other than that, that's a far-fetched theory. Anyhow, Shinji, you finished what you wanted to say? You got some more?
There's other little problems with the movie too. I'm just gonna say it, even though I'm not fully invested in it, but there's some truth to it that they just didn't show enough Godzilla. I'm not hardcore on it like most people are, but a little more Godzilla would have been cool. Because like we talked about last week, it's a fucking 2-hour movie. A little more than 9 minutes would have been cool.
But the 9 minutes you get though, the 9 minutes you get, honestly. The 9 minutes you get of Godzilla, it's
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal. And I think that's where the anger really comes from, is that it was done so well that the feeling of, you want more is just a little overwhelming for most people.
Yeah, I can see that. JR, you got anything you want to add besides Joe Brody is actually alive in Black Ops?
I have to agree with a lot of what he says, but then again, I have to disagree because, I think the movie kind of could be like a fine wine if they release like an uncut version.
There's your cheese.
No, I mean, yes, the cheese, the wine. But I think it could be a fine wine if they did release an uncut version, like an extended edition because a lot of footage that we seen in trailers didn't end up in the film, and which scratched my head. But I like to think of 2014 as kind of the event. You know, it's like I don't just pop it in out of fuck it, there's nothing else to watch. I make sure I have nothing to do. I crank up my fucking surround sound and I just enjoy it because it's a good action movie. Not the best Godzilla movie, but it's the best we have when it comes to realism and loudness. God, that movie is just so loud and good to me. It's a nice movie. But, you know, like I previously said, it's not even in my top 5. But they did it right. They did Godzilla justice. And, you know, 1998 is what it is. I loved it when I was a kid. Hated it when I got older. Well, I don't hate it. I just, you know, it's a Godzilla movie. I hate it.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun podcast.
Yeah, different podcast. You know, and the whole thing with Joe coming back, you know, it was just a crazy theory I thought of, but it, you know, I thought it would kind of make sense in its own right if you understand military and kind of realism. But at the same time, I see where people are like, no, he's dead, leave him die. And I think that's why I'm like, no, I just want more Bryan Cranston in it. He was such a good fucking character in Godzilla. I can't accept that he's dead. You know, I watched Breaking Bad. I didn't finish it. I watched Malcolm in the Middle. I'm a huge fan of Bryan Cranston. I'm like, fuck yes, he's with Godzilla, man. That's a fucking plus. They just kill him off, and I hate that. I hate it, but understand it, but I still hate that I understand it. You know? And then we got this, you know, boring, statuesque military guy, which military guys are pretty boring unless you get them, you know, a few beers in, then they start talking about some crazy shit that happens in Iraq and Afghanistan, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand the film. I understand the realism, even when it comes down to the military, because, like I said, I'm kind of an army brat. I understand the film. I understand where people's gripes are. But then again, people that complain about, oh, he's not in 2014 a lot, Godzilla's barely in it, should be named Joe Brody or Ford Brody or whatever. It's like, and you're a huge fan of Shin Godzilla, I just scratch my head. I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get that hate. And that's where I'll leave it for now.
That's it. I feel the same exact way. When I saw all the results coming in, the fandom who got to see Shinji, and the way they were like, oh, this is so much better than 2014. And I'm like, you're the same people who are beefing about Godzilla not being in G14. And then in Shinji, Godzilla's not even in the movie. That's, and again, I say it a million times, and I don't care. You can argue with me, you can debate with me, and we can have this conversation to the end of time. That is not Godzilla. That's it. That is not, in my book, Godzilla. It looks like Godzilla, a zombified version of him, but in my book and from what I grew up with, Godzilla has never been a fish or an eel. It's a dinosaur. Or the way Legendary, which is the topic we're on, the way Legendary gave it it's an ancient being. I think Kong Skull Island might give more into that mythos of these legendary, that's so funny that it's a legendary thing, these legendary beings, these legendary creatures, you know, that you can kind of connect dots to Godzilla if you wanted to, if they go that route. I think they will. But that was one of my biggest beefs. There's no Godzilla in Legendary's Godzilla. But then they go and praise Shinji, which in my opinion is not a Godzilla. That is more Geno, okay? That is more 98 than it is anything else Godzilla. But that's not this podcast. We did that already. The Ford Brody thing. Again, you're an army brat. I'm not, but we have similar views on the character. He is a man doing his job. And his job, yes, defusing bombs, but he's a military man first and foremost. That is why he's always stone-faced. That is why he's wood in this movie. he doesn't drink any beers in this film, okay? So like you said, you get a couple of beers in them and they start going on about Afghanistan and Iraq, and I'm sure that leads to entertainment and possibly some horrifying situations. But for the movie's sake, Ford Brody, to me, he's a great cat. I loved him. I personally don't have a problem with him. Is he wooden? Yes, but because of his character, that's what he's supposed to be. He's an army man. He is a military dude, and he's doing his job. He's doing his job, and you have to block everything out and just focus on the mission at hand. Because if you don't focus on the mission at hand, everybody dies. That's pretty much it. You know, it's one thing and that's it. He was zoned in my particular opinion. He was zoned in because when he's at home with Elle, he's having fun. Daddy's home. Cake every night. You know it.
Yeah, I was just going to throw it.
Yeah.
Yes. You know it. I know it. Daddy's home. Cake every night. And I'm with that. I'm totally with that. He was having a good time.
If I could just throw this in there real quick.
Yeah.
You know, of course, again, I've been around the soldiers. I've lived on the military bases. When they have a fucking job to do, they get that shit done. They are fucking serious. They don't fuck around. They're, let's get it done. And that's how I felt about Ford in this. He was like, let's get it done. Let's kill these damn monsters. And, you know, you have the little National Guard guys that haven't seen combat, like the wisecracker in the film who's, you know, dies by the military. I don't remember his name.
Oh, the kid that's like, aim the pointy part at the monster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could definitely see, because right there you could see who's been in combat and who hasn't been in combat. Right there. And I think they executed that element very well because it just shows you this guy is inexperienced, but Ford Brody's like, let's get this shit done. Simplify, motherfuckers. Let's kick some fucking ass. You know, and I respect it. And like you said, he's a very wooden character, yes. But soldiers, when they're getting the job done, are very wooden. They're very straightforward. And when they go home and relax, they're fun as hell.
Gotcha. Now, again, on the Joe Brody aspect, totally agree with Anthony. I totally agree with you, JR. We haven't gotten G95's opinion on that yet. Oh, I'm butting my ass in. I wish Joe Brody did not die. As much as I like Ford Brody, I'd much rather it have been Joe Brody's movie. Because with him and Ken Watanabe as Dr. Serizawa, I think it would have been a match made in heaven because, A, I love Ken Watanabe. I think he's a great, phenomenal actor. I loved him. My favorite role he's ever been in is in The Last Samurai. And I just think an actor of his caliber and an actor of Bryan Cranston's caliber doing this movie. And Bryan Cranston was really excited to do this. But then he's gone. Like Anthony said, 25 minutes into the movie and you're like, what the fuck? What is this bizarro world? It's like Tuesday all over. What's going on? Right? I really wish he would have been the focal point of this movie because he is a scientist. Him and Serizawa would have played off well with each other. This isn't one of those Showa type of movies where Godzilla's around already. So now you might have people studying him, and it's the new monster. It's the threat that's coming in that, well, we know Godzilla's around. Okay, he's good. What's this thing? So they worry about that. No, this would have been cool because Serizawa was focusing on Godzilla. He's been watching him for, I don't know how long, but he says it in the movie. And Cranston, his thing was the Mutos. What killed my wife? What brought the reactor down? What did this? And I just think that together, and even before all that, the echolocation, the studying he was doing in the 15 years since his wife's death up until his, this is a very important character, and to just drop him off the way you did. Ooh, he could have survived that. Personally, I was mad because I'm like, I think he could have lived. That doesn't look that bad. He may be paralyzed. A brand new character trait. He's Professor X. But so yeah, that's just my two cents there. I really did wish, that's my biggest gripe of the movie. Joe Brody, Bryan Cranston, who was phenomenal in it, and phenomenal in anything I've ever seen him in, should have been around longer than that. G95, let me get your negatives on this film.
All right, well, I've got a lot of them. In regards to Ford Brody's woodenness, I think you guys might be just trying to come up with some stuff to disregard Aaron Taylor Johnson's bullshit acting. Even when he's at home with Elle, he's still fucking a terrible goddamn actor. He's in other movies, he's proven that he can act well. Like, I think he was pretty good in Kick-Ass 2. He was okay as Quicksilver, kind of. But, like, I feel like he was totally just in this movie for the paycheck. I said this in the last podcast. He said in interviews that, like, he'd never seen any Godzilla movies. He didn't really care about Godzilla particularly. He only saw 1954 because the studio made him watch it. That shows me that he was just there for the paycheck. And it shows in his performance too, that he was phoning it in the whole time. You guys can say that he was like being a hardened wooden soldier all you want, but he just wasn't trying. You can be a stoic character and still convey emotions. Look at all the serial killers and slashers and stuff in horror movies. They've got like full costume, full mask, never talk and only, walk, and you can still get a sense of emotion behind the mask. And they're working with a lot less than Aaron Taylor Johnson was. Okay. That's just my thought, though.
Okay.
I see Ray dying over there.
Yeah, no, because
I just got to get it out.
I
agree with you.
I do like when, yeah, exactly. I like where Matt went, but JR, go ahead, and then I'm coming in too.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, to me, is a shitty actor. I don't like his acting, and I think that's why he did so good in this movie. He didn't have to act, so he just played a fucking soldier. Good job. Because soldiers can't act. Not all of them, sure. Some of them, yeah. One of which was in Full Metal Jacket. I forget his name. Was actually an Army drill sergeant. But anyways.
Army.
And I think that's why it was like such a simple role for him to get that check. He's like, I just got to be a military dude. Awesome. Give me fucking a week, 2 weeks of military training. Fucking show me drills, and let's fucking do it. I have to agree with you. That's why I think he's wooden. I hate him as an actor. I hate Kick-Ass because he's such a fucking obnoxious actor to me.
Oh.
So that's where I'll leave it.
Okay, real quick. You mentioned Full Metal Jacket, and I'm going to take a character because that's one of my favorite movies. I am an Army movie guy. I love war movies. So Full Metal Jacket, when I saw that for the first time, I think I was 13. Man, bullet through the brain. That movie fucked me up. I love it. Ford Brody is the docile version of Bad Animal Mother. And that's the dude, what the hell? The Baldwin.
The porno?
Not the porno. Well, he's not doing it.
It's a Diaforno. I can't say his last name.
Wait, what did you say?
The
Vincent D'Onofrio. No. Vincent D'Onofrio was Private Pile. I forget his real name in the movie.
Right.
He was the one in boot camp that winds up killing the drill sergeant and then himself. No, Bad Animal Mother was the crazy white guy in Vietnam who Adam Baldwin.
One of the Baldwin
it's the Baldwin. It's the Baldwin that was on Serenity. It's the Baldwin in Independence Day. He's my favorite Baldwin. Okay, he's my favorite one because he's not the star of the family, but he does enough genre work.
He did Superman. He did Superman a couple times. The voicing.
He sure did. Yes. So, Ford Brody is the docile version of him because if you see him in that movie, Full Metal Jacket, he's a stone cold killer. He is just, even when he takes and I can't believe we're talking about this in the Godzilla, but we have to. Even when he takes the prostitute away from 8-Ball, when 8-Ball was about to, boom, boom with the soul brother, and he takes it, he's still this stone face like, fuck you, this is mine first. And, I don't say, but in the context of that movie, it was white privilege over blacks in that movie. But his demeanor never changed. When he was killing, when he was taking a prostitute, when he was trying to make a joke, he was always solid, wood. And that's what Ford Brody was. Now you say, even in the scenes with L, this is where I was chomping at the bit. When he gets off, when it says 15 years later, and he's getting off the helicopter, and his general, whoever, his lead officer tells him it's gonna take time. That's what it is. He's still kind of decompressing, I guess. Because again, he's a bomb dude. That's not an easy job, man. You could pretty much get. Now, let me rephrase this before I get myself into trouble. You can train to be a soldier. You can train to kill, or you can put a gun in the hand without ever training and shoot and kill somebody. You can do that. This dude is a bomb dude. He defuses bombs. One wrong move, boom, it's in his face. He's done. Mm-hmm. That is scary. You have to build you have to go to a certain place in your head. And to come back from that, and I understand with regular soldiers, if they come back from war after a bloody battle, Vietnam vets, for instance, my hat goes off to them. They've seen some shit. But also with this dude, man, it's hard. So, yes, I understand you saying that he's boring and terrible. He hasn't decompressed. He's only been at home for 5 hours? He's only been there for 5 hours. His head's still in the game.
You're just making excuses. I mean, there's...
Okay.
It's not that he hasn't decompressed when he's at home with his wife and his kid. It's that he's a fucking terrible actor when he's at home with his wife and his kid.
I'm sorry, I disagree, because cake. So
I think both of your opinions are spot on, but at the same time, just think, guys, he is a terrible actor, yes, but again, a lot of military guys can't act because they're in one mode, so it's a simple role for him to do just to get that paycheck. But on the other hand, he has to portray a fucking U.S. soldier that is an IED, ordnance explosive disposal, who has a lot of stress on their hand because if they fuck up, they kill themselves in their unit. So they have a lot on their shoulders. So he has to kind of portray that, which, if you really think about it, quiet, let's just get the job done. I don't have a lot of shit to do with my life.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
It's both of what you guys are saying, is right in a sense, because, I could see both sides of it.
Well, let me add. All right, so I said my piece. We said our piece, and that's gonna stay up in the air, debatable, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. We can have serious discussions whenever we want with that. What else bothered you about this movie, though, G95?
Well, I thought pretty much everybody was kind of a shitty actor. Elizabeth Olsen, I'm pretty. I like her. I like her a lot. She was great in Old Boy. She was kind of cool as Scarlet Witch.
Hold up. Don't trigger Anthony, please. Don't trigger him. Let's not talk about any Marvel movies, especially Civil War. Don't trigger him.
I'm specifically referring to Age of Ultron, because she was kind of not so great in Civil War. But yeah, I thought she was kind of phoning it in. Ken Watanabe was also not that great. Even Bryan Cranston, I felt like, wasn't bringing his full A game. Because Bryan A game is unbelievable. And I found Bryan Cranston in Godzilla to be unbelievable in a different way. As in, I didn't buy his fucking character.
So much triggered going on right now.
Yeah. It's like somebody put a finger right up my anus because I'm triggered. I'm like, what are you even talking about? That's crazy.
Do you always laugh if somebody puts their finger in your anus?
No. Maybe sometimes, if it tickles. But holy crap, dude, no, time out. All right, look, I'll give you Ford Brody. I'll give you Aaron Taylor Johnson, okay? I like the dude. I loved him in this movie. I have my reasons. But there's no fucking way, dude. Bryan Cranston, he stole that show. And then he was taken away from us. He
did steal the show, but he was the best actor out of a bunch of bad actors.
And
he's best by default. He is the best actor in the cast, undoubtedly. He's fantastic in He was fantastic in Breaking Bad. I loved him in Malcolm in the Middle. I even love his episodes of King of Queens that he's in because I adore that show. But he was best by default. I just thought the movie was terribly written for the characters. All the characters' dialogue was pretty bad. It was all really cheesy, really kind of forced. It was just kind of cliche. It was a poorly written movie, and I think that has something to do with the fact that it's gone through 30 writers since it was in the developmental stage.
Oh man,
Shin Godzilla.
Shinji, I want to ask you because you've been with the pun here and there. You've been relatively quiet. Do you have anything? Do you agree or disagree with anything G95 got to say?
As much as I, was talking good about Bryan Cranston and that's who you're following, there is some truth to what Matt is saying. I'm not going to go 100% and say he was terrible, but there was a little...
I'm not saying that he's terrible either.
There was a little restraint in his acting, you could tell. And that wig that he had was pretty bad.
Leave the hairpiece out of it. Come on. Oh man, was that a wig, man? I really need to get my eyes checked.
It looked like it to me. It looked pretty like ew.
Oh man,
It's better than Donald Trump's hair by far.
Well, I
yeah, but we already know about Donald Trump.
Listen, Donald Trump took a stone cold stunner to your right, and his hair stood in perfect place. My hat's off to that. But anyhow,
yeah,
Cranston, oh man, okay. I personally don't see it. I think he was giving it 100% in this, whatever it takes. I thought he did well. I just was pissed off at him dying early. The script issues, though, that's a really good point you bring up as far as the dialogue and what was written. I don't see it, but you know what? That's why we have these things, to have this type of conversations.
Do you want to ask me what other problems I have with the movie? Because I'll keep breaking your heart.
That was the next question. Yes, and no, my heart's not breaking. That shit is made of titanium, space titanium. So
that's just gonna rust.
Yeah. It's gonna, yeah.
Wait, the space titanium doesn't rust. Never mind.
Yeah, there you go.
What does it mean?
So yeah, go ahead. What else? What else hurt?
Well, I agree with Anthony about the pacing of the movie. It was a little off, and it did buckle pretty hard after Bryan Cranston did die. And I don't really have a problem with the lack of screen time by Godzilla. But when you compared it to the screen time the Mutos get, that's when I start to get a problem with it. It felt like this was much more focused on them than it was Godzilla. I get that it's establishing Godzilla into this world, or the world, being introduced to Godzilla and stuff, but everything that happens in this movie happens because of the Mutos, not because of Godzilla. Godzilla just is kind of just there. He almost feels like a background character that they're like, oh, this guy can actually save the day. Let's give him a shot. It just felt like weird to me. I don't know. Like they had way more focus on the Mutos overall, much more screen time, much more like concern about their development, and like I said, everything that happens in the movie happens because of them. The reactor, the egg thing hatching, and them like one getting out of escaping from something in Vegas and one escaping Japan, and it just felt bizarre. I didn't like their designs particularly. Like, I get they're supposed to be like insectoid, but they looked more like aliens, kind of. I appreciate the new, like the new take on new monsters and stuff, but I felt like it didn't work. I felt like this was a Godzilla movie featuring Godzilla, which is, keep in mind, like, I don't have a problem with his screen time, but it seems weird that the Mutos get like half an hour of screen time as opposed to his couple of minutes.
I got you. So what you're saying is this movie should have been called Godzilla versus Mutos. Because then it would be like justified because, Mutos is in the title of the movie and they're showing us a lot of Mutos as opposed to, but it's Godzilla and we've got other monsters now and they're still there and they're still there. There's Godzilla, he's gone. Man, there's more Mutos and Mutos. Now here's my thing.
The way I look at it is more like, let's turn this G14 into a song. All right, so Mutos is the title, and they're the artist too, and they're singing the whole song, they're carrying the whole song. The chorus is based around the Mutos, and then towards the end of the song, like right after probably the second or third chorus, and just before the guitar solo, there is just Godzilla shows up and busts out a sweet rap, and that's about it. It's like Mutos featuring Godzilla.
Okay, what was the problem?
I have a request.
Yes,
Matt. Last podcast that didn't get aired, you said one thing about Godzilla that had us all on the fucking floor.
Uh-oh.
Would you repeat that for me, please?
Sure. It felt like Godzilla kind of just showed up and it was like, "What up? I just kill these things."
Okay.
Peace.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's fun. Okay. Well, no. Listen. My only counter to this is, yes, there was a lot more focus on Mutos in this movie. I attribute that to the fact that if you're going to see a Godzilla movie, you know who Godzilla is. And yes, they are reintroducing Godzilla to another audience. But the fact remains the same. Godzilla's been around for 60 years at this point in time. If you have not seen a Godzilla movie, you're not going to see this movie because they gave you nothing in the trailer to make you be like, oh my God, I gotta go see it. But everybody knows who Godzilla is. He's one of the most iconic characters in world culture. You have Batman, you have Spider-Man, you have Spock, Godzilla, James Bond. He's been around
Darth Vader?
Darth Vader, of course. I didn't want to throw Star Wars into it because it didn't get me hyped. But Godzilla's been around for so long. You know what Godzilla is, and they're reintroducing the character in a different way in this movie. And the biggest change to Godzilla in this movie is his look, even though it's eerily reminiscent of what we've seen before. Same thing with Shinji. It's eerily reminiscent of what we've seen before. It's just a different take on the character. This Godzilla really wasn't a different take on the character. It was a show of Godzilla. It was a heroic. This beast was majestic. So let's give you something you've never seen before. These Mutos, okay? We're gonna turn Megalon and Gigan, and we're gonna mix them, match them, and make them a Kamacuras, and bam, there you go, you got them. All right, and were they interesting creatures? I think so. I like this idea because I've never seen them before. It's something new. 98 didn't try this. The movie that was supposed to come out before 98, the original one, with Stan Winston doing Godzilla, they had the Griffin. I would have loved to see how that worked. I really would. I read the script that they had for it. I actually want to go back and reread it. But I dug that movie. I dug what it could have been. This Godzilla, yes, Godzilla's in the title. We should have more, not focus on the Mutos. But for me, I think that people know going in what they're getting. It is a Godzilla movie, and if you know who Godzilla is, that means you've seen a movie, at least one, if not several, and however many Godzilla movies there are. We know what this character is, so let's. I mean, granted, and I totally understand your beef, but let's give a little more screen time to these new things. And how do we defeat them? Because Godzilla in this movie, again, like I said, is a show of Godzilla. He's a hero. He's a hero. He's not going. Think about this. he doesn't go out of his way to kill people the way Gamera did in Gamera 3. Gamera in Gamera 3, Guardian of the Universe, he said, fuck humanity. Came down, blew Gauss up, and was like, everybody's dead. You're in my way, fuck you, you're gone. Yes, Godzilla came ashore in Hawaii, made a tidal wave, made a tsunami. People did die. But then when he comes into San Francisco Bay, he's not killing anybody. He's like moving around the ships. He's swimming in between two battleships at any given moment. Do you think Godzilla just be like, fuck this, whoop, pull him down and break him in half? No, it's not bothering him. He's focused on a mission. And that was a Showa Godzilla. That's what Showa Godzilla was. I'm not gonna kill you, man. I gotta fight this thing. I'm protecting the Earth. And Serizawa says it. He's the alpha predator, and he's here to balance. So yeah, I understand your concerns, and I'm sure that a lot of other people would feel the same way. More to the Mutos than it was Godzilla. It should have been Godzilla, and I felt the same thing before I knew about Mutos. I thought this was going to be a Godzilla movie. I thought Godzilla was going to rampage, and I honestly thought there was going to be more than one Godzilla in it, but there wasn't, and I totally bought this movie for what it was because it caught me off guard. It sideswiped me. But anyhow, yeah, that's just me, trying to gun you down verbally. And
I'm gonna have to slow you down.
Okay.
Yeah, just real quick, because you keep on saying that's Showa Godzilla, that's Showa Godzilla, that's Showa Godzilla. Showa Godzilla was only a hero in less than half of the last remaining movies.
Okay, you got me.
He wasn't a hero through most of them. I mean, he may have been an anti-hero, but even in the movie that supposedly turned him around to be a hero, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, he was still a villain through most of that movie. And the ones after, he was kind of neutral up until Smog Monster.
I agree. And you know what? No. I agree with that. You got me on that. My point, I guess, what I'm trying to say, when I use Showa as a reference, I mean that when I was growing up, the movies we saw, the movies that were constantly on before I got older and was able to find the other ones, were the heroic Godzilla movies. Aside from King Kong versus Godzilla, they were all the heroic ones. It was Smog Monster. It was Megalon. It was Terror of Mechagodzilla. Those were the ones that I grew up on. And in those movies, Godzilla was a superhero, so to speak. When I was a teenager and I found the Heisei series, Godzilla was not that. He was an anti-hero. He was a force of nature. That is my favorite version of Godzilla. It overtook all the superheroics of the Showa era in my view. So when this movie was coming out, and before I knew about Mutos, I thought it was going to be a Godzilla movie in the traditional sense of 54, 84. Solo flick, and I thought the surprise was going to be more Godzillas. I was like, wow, that's going to be interesting, because we've never seen it before. But then it didn't get that. I got this, and again, not really super heroic, but in the fashion of the Showa era, from what I grew up with, Godzilla's fighting these other monsters, and he's going out of his way not to kill humanity. Like, G2000, for instance, he fights Orga, he blows Orga up, and then what does he do? At the very end of the movie, he blows up Tokyo. He's like, fuck this. Boom. This Godzilla said, oh shit, I'm up. All right, I did it. Okay, we good? I'm out. Peace. And goes in the water and swims away. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't rampage. He doesn't do, and that's what I mean when I say Showa. That's I should have been a little bit more descriptive, but that's pretty much what I mean. When I grew up, I was seeing Godzilla in a certain light up until I was old enough to actually find more. I was given this, and then when I got older, I found that. I fell in love with Heisei. I fell in love with that Godzilla. I thought we were going to get something akin to that, and I was wrong. And it was actually a nice breath of fresh air because Millennium tried to do that. Millennium was giving us all different weird versions of Godzilla. We didn't know what Godzilla to believe in each one of those films. And that's why I say Showa-esque. He was Showa-esque, and I guess you're right, from Smog Monster on. But yeah, that's my.
Okay, and my argument against it is Godzilla got less screen time, and it was all about the Mutos. And I'm going to sit here and name you every Godzilla movie, because I'm downstairs, that showed not a whole lot of Godzilla, and show you guys the double standard here. And this is all based off my opinion, of course. 1954 didn't show a lot of Godzilla. Invasion of Astro Monster, Sea Monster, All Monsters Attack was a lot of stock footage, but it didn't use the actual Godzilla suit. Megalon, Mechagodzilla 1, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. Arguably, Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth. Arguably, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, as well as arguably Space Godzilla. 2000 you can't argue with about that one. Arguably Godzilla vs. Megalon, and then it skips all the way to Final Wars, arguably, which showed up over halfway through the film. Yes, the rest of that 2-hour movie was Godzilla fighting, but over halfway through that film, there was hardly, if not any, Godzilla, and it was all the other monsters.
3 minutes. 3 minutes in the beginning.
Well,
yes.
Keep in mind that I'm not comparing the lack of Godzilla screen time of the actual Godzilla. I'm talking about the overbearing amount of Muto screen time.
And I'm making that argument as well, because Orga, in its own right, of course, had more screen time than Godzilla did in Godzilla 2000. In the Meganulon, and Megaguirus had more screen time than Godzilla. Final Wars, and then Destroy All Monsters had way more of the other monsters than actual Godzilla. Ever and Godzilla had about the same, I would say, and then if you want to get into it, Son of Godzilla had a lot more Kamacuras and a lot more Kumanga than Godzilla. It was mainly focused on Milla.
Well, then
that's all I'm saying. Is there are several other films that did the exact same thing as 2014. 2014 gets shit on for doing it.
Well, that goes to my point.
That's all I'm saying.
That goes to my point, and also, I guess, to Matt's point also, where I say people know who Godzilla is because of all of these movies. On the flip side to that, though, is this is a reboot. Maybe we want to see Godzilla more. I am perfectly fine with the amount of screen time we got because I am a Godzilla fan. I know who Godzilla is, and I enjoyed this version of it. I enjoyed the origin, even though it really wasn't, an in-depth origin. But I enjoyed where they were going, what we were told. I totally bought into that. But G95, this is your time, and we might be running a little bit out of time, but I want you to get anything off you need to get off your chest. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, quickly going back to this previous argument, I guess I'm a little bit more salty about the screen time ratio between Godzilla and Muto because, like you said, it's a reboot, so we should have a little bit more Godzilla than the other monster, and I felt like the Mutos were boring as shit, as opposed to Final Wars, which had, all in all, not a whole lot Godzilla, like you said, JR, it was mostly other monsters, but it was a variety of other monsters. All the other movies I felt like had a variety, except for Terror of Mechagodzilla. You kind of win that one with very little Godzilla and more of the other monsters, but I don't like that movie, so that's just...
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. We had this conversation.
And I guess I will...
Does this guy even like Godzilla at all? Say.
Yes, he does. We wouldn't have been doing this podcast if it wasn't for him. He does.
I may be a little bit more critical than you guys, but I know my shit, and I still love my Godzilla.
Yes.
Which one? Because, no, I'm just kidding.
But I'll end my very long list of cons by saying that overall it's a pretty decent movie, but just has a lot of problems, glaring problems. And I think the line "let them fight" is dumb as shit.
Oh God! What? See, you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had a tad bit of technical difficulties, but we are back. We are back with the legendary review of G14. Legendary, of course. The legendary review. It's not that legendary. It's just us four here. I am joined again, of course, with Shinji from GVA, JR. I cut him off. JR and G95, and of course me, G1. Where were we at the last time? I was asking G95 if he had any more beefs with the movie, because he had a lot, apparently. And so, yeah, G95. Anything else you want to add to the bonfire you have already started?
Well, I'm an opinionated fucker, I guess. The last thing I wanted to say was just that I think "Let them fight" is the most cheesy line that I've heard in a really long time. Like, that was that belongs more in, like, I don't know, like late era Schwarzenegger movies, like ones from the early 90s or something, when he was going a little crazy with the puns. It's not a pun, but it's just really cheesy and, like, kind of cringy.
I guess I'm gonna, I guess I'm gonna have to disagree again. Dude,
what else is new?
Yeah, what else is in this podcast, right? No, come on, listen. This was a serious conversation Severazawa was having with the fucking general there, okay? He was telling him he believes nature has a way of balancing itself out. You can't stop this. Nobody can stop this. This has been going on for eons. Let them fight. Because he was pro-Godzilla the whole time. He's like, oh no, fuck the Mutos. They're bad. But this thing hasn't done anything wrong for as long as I've been following it. And we don't know how long Monarch's been around. So that's another interesting thing when we talk about Kong. Kong is taking place in the 70s. And Monarch is around already. Well, it got to be, I guess, 54. But could it be longer than that? Is there something older than both Godzilla and Kong that required Monarch's attention? Or required Monarch be formed? We don't know yet. But we know that Monarch's been around at this point in time since at least the 50s. Because they tried to kill Godzilla. Why did they try to kill it? They don't know. It never did anything wrong. But these Mutos now, that's the balance. They're like, well, it's that balance. Let them fight. Let them fight. I don't think it's a cheesy line. It's definitely the tagline of the trailer. It got people like, when they introduced you to new creatures. Oh shit, there's other monsters other than Godzilla in this movie? Let them fight. Well, fuck it. Let them fight. Let's go. We're gonna go see a motherfucking WrestleMania with kaiju. That's always the main event.
I just thought it was kind of lame. Like, there's no real defending bad writing. Bad writing killed that potentially awesome tagline moment, in my opinion. It shit all over Ford Brody, and bad writing literally killed Bryan Cranston's character.
Oh, man. Okay. Anybody else have anything to say to that? I'm done.
I may branch off on the let them fight. A lot of the big budget American movies do that now. I mean, it's not even Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore. He's probably started it. But, I think of things like the fucking movie series Bring It On. Like, I never watched a single one of them, but, every fucking trailer has some Bring It On. Bring it on. Oh. So I think they're trying to do shit like that to hype Godzilla. So I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just kind of touching on the subject.
No, I agree that it is very prevalent in movies today. It's just in this instance, I thought it didn't work very well.
All right, so you're telling me Bring It On thing, I don't even know what that is. Is that a dance movie? Is that the dancing stuff?
It's a cheerleader movie that was made in the early 2000s that died a horrible fucking death.
Wait.
So.
Is that the one with, like, magic fingers or some shit? With spirit fingers?
So, yeah.
I didn't see any of them. I just remember the trailers when I watched TV.
I think I might have watched the first one. I didn't know they made a franchise. But if that was the case, don't you think that Let Them Fight makes awesome sense when we get Godzilla vs. Kong? I mean, listen, come on.
Well, that was in King Kong versus Godzilla to a sense. So they didn't make it so short, but they were basically like let these monsters kill each other.
Yeah, for real, right? Why waste money with the fucking military? They can do it for us.
And Mr. Taco was like, both will die.
That's your favorite movie, isn't it? That's your favorite.
It's in my top 5.
You know what? Yeah, not bad. So you're anticipating this matchup?
Yeah, I think King Kong versus Godzilla was either the first or second Godzilla movie. I'm not sure if it was because right around the same time frame I saw Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. So, also I should say since there's a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, I don't know if I was around 2 or 3, but both of those were the first Godzilla movies I've seen.
Okay.
But I'm not sure which one. Yeah.
I got confused. You said Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. I'm like, you were what in 1993?
I mean, yeah, I meant that's why I said also.
Okay.
Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 74, I should say.
Alright.
I'm not sure which of those two were the first because I was like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the memory fades.
Yeah, I got you. I think King Kong versus Godzilla might have been my first Godzilla movie, to be honest, because I was about the same age, 3 or 4 maybe. But JR, you got anything you want to anything to counter G95's excessive hatred towards this film? Make me cry.
What does it mean? Seriously, you can let them fight the cheesy line. 2 Godzillas. What does it mean? What the fuck do you think it means? No, I think it's a great line, honestly, because I think deep down, Dr. Serizawa's a cynical asshole and just wants to watch these monsters kill each other for his own fucking amusement.
Wow, that's definitely not where I thought.
Deep down, he's like, I hope all these people die and these monsters die. Let them fight. Let them all fight. They're all gonna fight.
Oh my god.
In all seriousness, though, I think it's a good line. I have no problem with it compared to some of the lines that are in movies nowadays. I think that's of the better.
Yeah.
That's where I'll leave it.
So, yeah, G95, you want to defend yourself other than it's a shitty line?
No, it's just a personal opinion. There doesn't need to be any defense or any, that's just my feelings on it.
Gotcha. Nah, listen, man. You know, we just shucking and jiving with you, right?
It's mostly that.
All right, we're just shucking then. We're just shucking. But you're wrong. No. Let me stop. Seriously.
Wrong.
But in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, if the last podcast didn't get fucking ruined, there was a lot more differences. And there were more people, of course, that they just couldn't make it this time. So it seems like we're ganging up on G95, and we might be. But he makes very valid points, and I do respect that. I really do, brother, because if I didn't, you wouldn't come back on next week, and then we have some issues.
Because he's wrong.
Because he's wrong. No.
And I think that's what's great about this is, we respect his opinion. Yeah, we might be ganging up a little bit, but that's just because we're all friends here, and it's just fun to tease each other.
Yeah.
We don't completely hate each other. It's just teasing.
Yeah. Because the Shin Godzilla fucking podcast, y'all were ganging up on me, JR, and Chase. There was 9 of y'all, and you're still all wrong, because that movie was whack. And didn't have Godzilla in it at all.
We need to get our shit buddies back on you. Is that what it is?
We're going to, listen, and seriously, I talk about this a lot. We're going to revisit that movie when it comes out on Blu-ray, when it's available for home video use. We're going to revisit it, because I've seen it twice in the theaters. I enjoy going to the movies to see a Godzilla movie. It doesn't matter what it is. I enjoyed seeing it in the theaters. And again, I would have went to see it a 3rd and a 4th time because it's showing Toho, yo, we want it. Whether I like the movie or not, we want it. I want more Godzilla. That's why I do this podcast. That's one of the reasons why I created the G Show. That's why they call me G1, because for me, Godzilla that was the number one when I was growing up, and there's an outlet to do this now. So I'm going to utilize it. And I'm glad that I have like-minded people like you guys and, everybody else that's been on this show before, where we can sit down and bullshit about Godzilla and have a good time. Whether we agree with each other or not, at the end of the day, the point is, let's have a good time with that. So, That being said, final thoughts on Legendary Godzilla. Let's start with you, Shinji.
You know what? I still really enjoy it, regardless of its negatives, because like I said last podcast, there is no perfect Godzilla movie. Godzilla was great.
What does it mean?
There is no perfect Godzilla movie. Sad to say, as much as we all love it, even the original has its drawbacks. But I enjoyed it. I know some of you guys ranked it as far down as a 6 or a 7. I can give it close to an 8 just because of what it did for Godzilla as a whole. It brought a humongous new fan base. It brought forth Toho's interest to spark Godzilla again. Godzilla's a household name again. It did so much for Godzilla itself that you cannot knock its prowess at all.
Very good. JR, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, hey, it was better than Shin Godzilla. No, I really, really, really enjoyed 2014. Like I said in the previous podcast, and I'll say it again, my love for Godzilla died after Final Wars. I got them all on DVD to have them on DVD because I had them on VHS, and I never really watched them. It was just more of just to have, and I got them at a relatively good price too. So I was just kind of out in love, and then the teaser trailer came out. I seen the trailers. This movie didn't get spoiled for me at all. Everyone got to see it before me, all my old friends. And when I finally got to see it, it was great for me. And, at the time, I kept telling myself, after I seen it 3 or 4 times in theaters, that I wasn't going to buy it on Blu-ray at Hastings, because I had a Hastings right next to my work. Right when I got off work, because I got paid that day, I'm like, I'm not going to go buy 2014. I'm going to go get it at Walmart at a cheap price. I ended up paying a premium price for this movie, for the triple pack at Hastings that night. I couldn't stop myself because I just really enjoyed that movie. And I'll pop it in. Even for people who aren't fans of Godzilla in my family, will sit down and watch this movie and enjoy it for what it is. And I think that's what's great about this movie, is it can actually go towards those not so much fans of Godzilla and bring them in and make them fans of Godzilla, because that movie did it justice, it did it right, and that is why I love 2014.
Nicely said. G95, your final thoughts.
All criticisms and teasing aside, it was an entertaining movie. It did. There's no denying how it reinvigorated the franchise, and kicked some new life into it and stuff. And that's Gareth Edwards proved that he's a hell of a director. Some of those shots and some of that cinematography is magnificent. The music is overall pretty great. I may have my choice words about the script and the actors and characters, but it's visually it's a stunning movie. And I'm looking at 2 of the 4 Godzilla 2014 posters that I have. So I am a fan of this movie, but it's still only a 6 or a 7 on my list.
Very well done. For me personally, my final thoughts is I unabashedly love this movie. I pop it on every time, and every time I watch it, I root for it. I love it. I get the same feeling I got the first time I saw it in the theaters, and that is a sense of awe and wonder, and it's just like, this is where we are today with Godzilla. Let's not stop. Let them fight. So that it will do for this particular podcast, the Legendary Godzilla review. And but before we sign off, we got some trivia. And yes, there's not a full panel, but there's enough. My dark horse is still here. His name's Shinji. So my bet's right on him to get every single question right. You know why? Because so far, he's got pretty much every single question right. And although the podcast that we initially done for this, we recorded for this, didn't work out, he got 1 out of the 2 questions correct. And I'm not going to repeat that. We're going to use those for a later date. But he has a point. And so there's a Final Goji, a.k.a. Lindsay, who couldn't be here today. She also has a point. But moving on. She ain't getting a point today because she's not here. Neither will Chase or anybody else. The trivia question for today, okay, is harkening back to the very beginning of the podcast. What we talked about was King Kong. It is a King Kong trivia question. And let's see who knows their Kongs. I might give 2, depending on how easy this first one is. In 2005's Peter Jackson's reimagining of King Kong, what is the name of the dinosaur King Kong fought? Let's start with you, G95.
The V-Rex.
JR, in Peter Jackson's reimagining of King Kong 2005, what is the name of the dinosaur Kong fights?
V-Rex, also Vastosaurus Rex is what they had for the full name.
You're going to get all technical and shit. Shinji, in Peter Jackson's reboot of King Kong in 2005, what is the name of the dinosaurs Kong fights?
Zilla 98.
Final answer?
Oh, no. Hey, yeah, it was Vastosaurus Rex.
All right, you guys all get points. That was an easy one. Now I'm going to have to throw another one at you because that was fucking easy. Okay. Okay. Oh, man, this one's coming right from the top of the dome. All right. In the 1933 original Kong, what is the second creature King Kong fought? Shinji.
Pteranodon.
In 1933's King Kong, what is the second creature Kong fought? JR.
Oh, God, it's been years. I do believe it was the Pteranodon.
In 1933's King Kong, what is the second creature Kong fought? G95.
I'm also going to go with the Pteranodon.
You guys fucking swept the board. I would have said pterodactyl, to be honest with you, because I think that's what it was. But a pteranodon works. It's a flying dinosaur. Holy shit. We got 2 points for each. Swept the board first time. This is what, the third week we've been doing this? 4th week? But congratulations. You guys each get 2 points. My dark horse is still in the lead. Very much appreciating that. Kicking ass, taking names. I still don't know what they're going to get at the end of this thing. I don't even know when it's going to end. But
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. Best believe there will be something that IG1 will give to the winner of this thing at the end. It might be a picture of Harambe.
Is it in your pants?
Yeah, no, it might be a picture of Harambe, depending on who wins this. I'm looking at you, kid. But anyway, that will do it for this podcast. I want to thank my panel here. And Shinji, man, thank you so much for being here today.
Respect.
What?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me. I thought you were just pointing at me real quick, because sometimes you're just like, oh, we got this. Okay, see you later. Yeah, bye.
I could have sworn you were just like, thanks, babe. And I'm like, really? Okay. We'll have this conversation. All right.
No, thanks for having me on, as always. I'm sad we didn't have as many people, but it was still a great show nonetheless.
Definitely was. JR, once again, thank you for being on the podcast and giving your opinions. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I always got to trigger someone, even though I don't trigger anyone.
Yeah, definitely didn't trigger nobody this time. But G95, you, my friend, thank you for being on this podcast and just triggering everybody today.
It's me. Thank you for allowing me to voice my opinion and then be promptly bullied into submission.
You are very welcome. And I want to thank all
He's the every non-Godzilla fan
Yeah. Yes. And I want to thank all of you guys for joining us today. I am G1. This is the Godzilla Block Party. Peace.